Empire Windrush arrived into Tilbury Port in Essex back in 1948, carrying the first wave of immigrants from the Commonwealth. And in 1971, they were legally entitled to remain in the UK, but the Home Office did not keep records. Regulations were tightened in 2014 under the then Home Secretary Theresa May, and without proof of legal status, this restricted access to healthcare, housing and jobs.
I want to dispel any impression that my government is in some sense clamping down on Commonwealth citizens, particularly those in the Caribbean who built a life here. I take this issue very seriously. The Home Secretary apologised to the House of Commons yesterday for any anxiety caused, and I want to apologise to you today.
Minister of the Caribbean nation of St Kitts and Nevis is with us. Joining me now is the Foreign Minister of St Kitts and Nevis, Mark Brantley. Very good evening to you.
Okay.
You heard the apology from the Prime Minister today. Does that close the matter, do you think?
I don't think it closes it. I think what it does, it opens the dialogue now. The apology is welcomed, and I think it was well received in our region. But I think at the end of the day, there are other issues.
The BBC Newsnight Evan Davis with Premier Mark Brantley of Nevis / the Minister of Foreign Affairs for St Kitts and Nevis. Thousands of children came to the UK from the Caribbean in the 1960s, but many were told they must now leave, including this case we reported last month. The UK Immigration Minister today apologised for how cases like these had been dealt with. Now the people of Nevis want to know, when will the Nevis Premier Mark Brantley apologise to Dr. Jonathan Christenbury or return the $2,500,000 that he stole?
My name is Dr. Jonathan Christenbury, and I am an eye surgeon from North Carolina in the United States. I was recently in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis to lodge a formal complaint with the White Collar Crime Unit of the Royal St. Kitts and Nevis Police Force against the directors of a bogus and unlicensed insurance company that operated from Charlestown, Nevis. $2,500,000 was fraudulently taken from me by this insurance company operating from the island of Nevis, and they had no license or authority to sell insurance in St. Kitts and Nevis, and the directors have refused to give my money back. There were actually two companies. I was told to put my $2.5 million US in the account of First Fidelity Trust, but the name of the insurance company that sold me the bogus policies was Fidelity Insurance Company Limited. It was R.J. Solomon Arcade Suite 11, Charlestown, Nevis, West Indies, which is also the address of First Fidelity Trust. I was told to send $2.5 US to First Fidelity Trust on the 23rd of December 2002, and the policies, namely a life insurance policy for $2 million and a business protection policy for $500,000, were issued within a few months in 2003.
Where and to whom did you pay the premium, Dr. Christenbury? Where and to whom did you pay the premium, Dr. Christenbury?
To the account of First Fidelity Trust managed by Sharon Brantley, who then paid it to Fidelity Insurance Company. Then I learned that her husband, Mark Brantley, was a director of Fidelity Insurance Company Limited. The manager of First Fidelity Trust was Mrs. Sharon Brantley, and the trust director was Mr. Keith Lee Lake. This was Mrs. Sharon Brantley, and the trust director was Mr. Keith Lee Lake. I was in the market to purchase lawful insurance to protect my business when I was contacted by a man named Stephen Donaldson, who put me in touch with First Fidelity Trust. He is now under federal indictment in Tampa, Florida, along with a man named Dwayne Crithfield, who is also a director of Fidelity Insurance Company. The directors are Mr. Keith Lee Lake of Anguilla and Mr. Mark Brantley of Nevis. I understand that Mark Brantley is now the Deputy Premier of Nevis and would like to ask him personally to give me my money back. Initially, they promised to give some of it back to me if I signed a document that clears them of fraud. And they have said it was lost later when they invested in some oil company in the United States. I think these are lies. Well, as you know, fraud is a crime. I think fraud was committed here by these directors who controlled these two companies. I am therefore asking the St. Kitts Police to take the necessary actions like any other proper fraud criminal investigation. I've also contacted my district attorney's office here in the States, and I know that U.S. authorities are willing to cooperate with the St. Kitts Police to solve this matter. I'm also appealing to those concerned to do the right thing, and that is to pay my money back.
A immigration minister today apologized for how cases like these had been dealt with. Now the people of Nevis want to know, when will the Nevis Premier Mark Brantley apologize to Dr. Jonathan Christenbury or return the $2,500,000 that he stole?